reddening of leaves is not varietal character. It is largely because of the leaf roll disease. So we have to be aware that if you have any red coloration in your block, please let us know so that we can test them to determine whether it is because of leaf roll or because of some other problem. This is the typical symptom of leaf roll disease in the cultivar Syrah. If we compare this one, the healthy vine looks green in color and vigorous in growth as opposed to the infected grapevine. The mature leaves are showing reddish purple discoloration and green veins. So if you see these kind of symptoms in cultivar Syrah, that is fairly typical of leaf roll disease symptom. Sometimes you may not be able to see these typical symptoms. As you can see here, for example, only the margins are showing reddening, whereas rest of the leaf remains green in color. So we need to keep this in mind while looking at symptoms of leaf roll disease. Not only typical symptoms, as you can see here, but also symptoms that are not typical of leaf roll disease. If you look at the overall canopy here in Syrah, you can see little bit of difference in the color of this leaf roll disease. So this is probably because of varietal differences. In Merlot, you see a wide range of symptoms, anywhere from typical green veins to symptoms such as shown here. This is typical symptom of leaf roll disease in Merlot. As you can see here, this leaf shows green veins and intraveinal reddening. In addition, sometimes you see symptoms that are little bit different when compared to these typical symptoms. For example, if you look at this particular leaf, or if you look at this leaf here, they are slightly different in terms of their color. Although you can see green veins and intraveinal reddening, but this reddening is different in different leaves. As the disease advances, you can see downward rolling of the leaves in Merlot. These leaves not only are showing green veins and intraveinal reddening, but they are also showing downward rolling of the leaves. So a typical leaf roll disease in a different red grape cultivar. Most of the time, growers think that there is no leaf roll disease in white grape cultivars because they don't express typical symptoms such as this one shown here. That is not accurate. In fact, all wine grape cultivars are susceptible to leaf roll disease. The only difference is that white grape cultivars do not express dramatic symptoms, as you can see in the case of red grape cultivars. The infected leaves are showing downward rolling, as you can see here, and that's the reason why we call this disease as leaf roll disease. Sometimes you don't see any downward rolling of the leaves. That doesn't mean that there is no leaf roll. Sometimes some grapevines, they express symptoms more clearly as opposed to other grapevines. For example, in the case of Chardonnay, we see light yellowing and downward rolling of the leaf margins. In the case of white varieties such as Riesling, as you can see here, we normally don't observe any symptoms. Sometimes we do see this kind of yellowing or chlorotic spots, as you can see here. One of the impacts of leaf roll disease is reduced cluster size As you can see here, this cluster is from a Syrah grapevine infected with leaf roll disease. And this cluster is from a healthy vine. So if you compare these two, you can notice size difference in the clusters, as you can see here, between infected and healthy. As you might notice, this is young planting planted maybe a couple of years ago, and you can see severe infection of leaf roll disease. It looks like the grower has taken cuttings from an existing block which is heavily infested with leaf roll disease and planted here, and as a result the disease has been taken from the old block into new blocks through these cuttings. So this is one of the common mistakes that a grower make in terms of taking cuttings from the old block which is heavily infested with leaf roll disease. And this is where we have to ensure that any new plantings should consider buying clean cuttings from a certified nurseries in order to ensure that we are not introducing new problems including leaf roll disease into new plantings. This is another example of a young vine showing leaf roll disease symptoms. This block was planted last year, that's in 2010, and as you can see here, this young vine is already showing typical leaf roll disease symptoms, as you can see here, consisting of green veins and interveinal reddening. It's quite likely that the grower might have brought these cuttings with leaf roll disease without understanding the implications of not planting clean materials. We would like to enforce the idea that planting clean materials, preferably sourcing from certified nurseries, is a good strategy to ensure healthy growth. If you notice any such symptoms in your blocks, or if you are suspicious of leaf roll disease, please do call me and I will be very happy to come and look at the symptoms and discuss with you about options for management. We need to work together as a team to solve this problem, and I really appreciate your cooperation in helping me to solve this particular problem for the benefit of the industry in Washington State. Thank you.